In yesterday's video, I have been talking about that Bitcoin most likely will see a dump, and we did saw a dump. Bitcoin went down since the video from yesterday, but guys, I have to say that right now Bitcoin doesn't look all too weak, because with the signals that we were seeing yesterday, also we got a positive reading on the average funding fee over on Will Portal. I would have thought that Bitcoin would be dumping way harder than it does right now. That makes me actually slightly more bullish, but I still want to be careful, and in today's video I'm going to show you exactly what I'm going to watch to the upside and what I'm going to watch to the downside. And guys, before we are jumping into Bitcoin, make sure to smash up that like button, very much appreciated. Make sure, guys, if you are interested in getting alerts from the Will Alerts platform that we are building right now, you can join by signing up on one of these exchanges down below. And yeah, I would personally highly recommend you to do so over on Bybit. Even though you already have a Bybit account, just create with a new email, create a new Bybit account and use that one for your active trading. Sign up right here over on Will Alerts and you will be able to get alerts which will help you tremendously in your trading. So the alerts right now are still quite basic, in the sense of the alerts are basically the alerts from Will Portal charts, but we are working right now on adding a lot of alerts from different charts, from Dixie, US dollar Tether dominance. All of these important charts will get alerts. So whenever something important happens and whenever you really need to be in front of the charts to do something, you will basically get a notification, which is tremendously important, but you will also get an explanation what that signal means and what that basically would mean for the price of Bitcoin in the short and longer term time frame. So I would highly recommend every single one of you to do so. And guys, right now you can join for free, so that is quite a nice opportunity you got right there. Then let's go to Bitcoin. What we are seeing with Bitcoin, guys, is just very interesting, because I would have expected Bitcoin, with the sentiment and with the signals we have yesterday, that Bitcoin would actually made a further dump. We didn't do so. So we got a hidden bullish divergence on the 1 hour time frame. I shared this over on Will Portal Twitter as well. We got a higher low in the price. We got a lower low in the relative strength index. Then so far we are still holding that kind of short-term uptrend, and it looks like we are getting squeezed within this pattern formation. So we have a uptrending support right there, and we got a horizontal resistance, and that horizontal resistance is roughly at 17,100, and the support right now is roughly at 16,460. And if Bitcoin were to break out to the upside, which it looks more likely right now, then the target will be roughly 19,000 US dollars. If we can see a nice break to the upside, I think Bitcoin could definitely spike to 90,000, and I'm also going to tell you why I think that is actually possible. If we were to break out to the downside, we really have to lose this low right there, the low of roughly 16.4k, and then I think Bitcoin could come as low to 15.8 and even test the support right here roughly at 15.5k. So a breakdown would be bearish, but for me, honestly, it doesn't seem that likely for Bitcoin right now to break down, although it is definitely possible. But I want to go with you to some other charts. First of all, guys, let's go to the funding fee. Funding fee turned negative. I would say this is going to be the most important indicator for the direction of the price of Bitcoin right now. If this can remain negative, the chances will increase for Bitcoin to go to the upside, break out to the upside. Whenever this is turning positive, the chances will increase for Bitcoin breaking out to the downside. And if we have a look at some different charts, like for example the Dixie, it looked like the Dixie wanted to bounce. It still looks like we could see a bounce right here. The relative strength index is going up on the 4 hour time frame while the price is consolidating, but we also could do something like this. Although it is a less likelihood, it is still possible. We have some form of a descending channel. The relative strength index is going up. and this is just consolidating to the downside. And once the relative strength index breaks down, breaks the uptrend, can be early, can be late, we see a breakdown in this chart as well. And if the Dixie has a declining channel as consolidation and break this one to the downside, the Dixie is actually looking way more bearish than we initially thought. But yeah, we do have to really recognize, guys, that we really broke a multi-year uptrend in the Dixie. Right, so it would make sense to bounce right here after such a massive drop. However, if we don't see that bounce and we just consolidating with a declining channel and breaking down, things are actually looking slightly more bearish. Then guys, let's have a look at the US dollar Theta dominance. This chart is very interesting because it will show us exactly where the stable coins are going. Are people withdrawing their Bitcoin for stables, or are people putting their stables into Bitcoin? That will determine the dominance, the market cap dominance from US dollar Theta. And US dollar Theta, I think right now for sure is one of the best stable coins and the most trusted by users. So what we are seeing right here is that this chart is actually slightly looking bullish, I have to say, which is a bit confusing, because if this chart is looking bullish, that is bearish for Bitcoin. So we have this rising channel right here. We broke out to the downside, we broke back into this channel, and as long as we are trading within the channel, we should expect this trend to continue to go up unless we are breaking down. If we are breaking down, that would be extremely bullish for Bitcoin, and it's definitely possible. Then guys, when we have a look at the S&P 500, the S&P 500 is also looking slightly bearish, which also wouldn't be that bullish for Bitcoin, because if this chart were to go to the downside, of course the chances will increase for Bitcoin to come to the downside as well. But what we are seeing right here is we have a clear formation over on the relative strength index. We had a try of breakout. We actually did broke out. We also broke out in the price. Right, we handled that here on the channel. We came down back in this formation, and we back tested the resistance again as resistance. So it would make sense for the S&P 500 in the next coming days to come down right here, also because we have this gap right here, and it makes sense for this gap to get filled. Maybe retest this level and then we can continue this uptrend, who knows, but it would make sense for this gap to get filled. So that is basically what we are seeing over on the S&P 500. So I have to say that the price action right now is slightly confusing, because in my opinion Bitcoin is looking quite strong. We actually tapped quite an important liquidity level, quite an important support level, and so far Bitcoin is just consolidating, but it's not really dumping further. If we really wanted to see Bitcoin dumping further, it might have happened already earlier. We have seen so much bearish news on Bitcoin, like the FTX collapse, and yeah, I just think Bitcoin is holding quite strong with this whole sentiment. The only thing that I don't like right now are the other charts, and that is the Dixie, the US dollar Theta chart, and the S&P 500, because they all point towards a more bearish scenario for risk on assets. Bitcoin is a risk on asset. The chances that Bitcoin will go on a rally so low, so it will leave all the other markets behind, and the correlation is possible. It's not something we have never seen with Bitcoin before. However, it is of course a less likely scenario. Then I want to have a quick talk, guys, about the exchange FTX and what's happening right now in the space. So what we are seeing right now is that I think the people who want to sell Bitcoin have already sold Bitcoin. Right, we had a massive exchange collapsing. A lot of people lost their life savings over on FTX. If that is not bearish news, I think that is one of the most bearish news we actually can get. And still, Bitcoin is we had a dump, that is true, but is holding quite strong after the dump. And if we have a look at the exchange balance, we can see that the Bitcoins from exchanges are being withdrawn. And that also means that the people who are withdrawing their Bitcoin are not selling their Bitcoin, right? So basically this chart is telling us that the less Bitcoin is on exchanges, the more buying pressure there actually can be. because of Bitcoins not being able to be sold because they are not on exchanges. And of course, we might see right now a different event where Bitcoin is being withdrawn from exchanges because of panic. However, in hindsight, guys, maybe this signal also flashing right now is actually quite bullish, showing us that the selling pressure for Bitcoin is definitely limited, and that hodlers are withdrawing their Bitcoin from exchanges, which is a good thing to do if you are a hodler, of course, and that will eventually create a buying pressure on the price of Bitcoin, because in this chart, most of the time, when the Bitcoin balance on exchanges goes down, the price of Bitcoin goes up. So I think this is actually something bullish right now, that Bitcoin are being withdrawn from exchanges. If, and that is a big if that wouldn't collapse another exchange. So if all these Bitcoin being withdrawn, and for example, Crypto.com, right now, that company also goes bankrupt, of course, that could have a very negative impact on the price of Bitcoin, and FTX could be the first domino to fall, and then other dominoes, so other companies go bankrupt as well. That would be a horrible story for Bitcoin. But to be honest, I would say that, of course, these effects sometimes takes time, but I would say that would already be priced into Bitcoin right now, because investors already are aware of this, right? So if insiders already aware of that potential collapse of Crypto.com, of other companies, then they would also already sold, and Bitcoin would be already at lower levels, and that's just not the case. So therefore, I think that Bitcoin is actually not looking too bullish. And if we zoom out right here, and let me go to the daily time frame. This is something that I have been saying as one of the only YouTubers right here. I still think that it is likely for Bitcoin to bounce from these levels. And what I mean with that is we still could come down, we still could test the support and so on. But I think it's less likely to really break out to the downside right now and just see Bitcoin going to 12, 13,000 US dollars. I think it's more likely, with the signs that I'm seeing, that we are seeing a bounce. However, guys, this perspective can change any moment if we are seeing different signals. So make sure to, if you want to get those signals, to subscribe over on our Twitter, subscribe to our YouTube channel. And if you really want to get these signals on time, make sure to join Will Alerts while you can for free right now. And if you join, I would highly recommend you to do so over on Bybit, because Bybit is definitely the best exchange out there right now to trade Bitcoin. And if you already have an account on Bybit, I would say just create a new account with another email, make that your primary Bybit account. Then you are able to join Will Alerts for free, and yeah, you will basically just become a way more profitable trader and will be way more up to date about important market events. Guys, I want to thank you all for watching. I want to wish every single one of you an awesome day today, and I hope to see every single one of you in the next video.